show. It's a show about money and creativity, only on LinkedIn. I'm Zech. I'm joined by artists, copywriters, designers, illustrators, musicians, strategists, CEOs, all kinds of people that create things and also have to make money doing them. We're going to talk about both of those things. There's a lot of shows about money and there's a lot of shows about creativity, but not a lot about both. And none are on the social network that everyone is unfortunately needing to be on these days, LinkedIn. So new episodes out every Monday. I'm excited at the guest list coming up. This is episode 5. Really excited for this guest. Been wanting to talk to her for a while, ever since I followed you on Twitter and saw some of your hot takes and just thought, this person gets me. I'm vibing with this person's harsh perspectives of the media landscape and lighting, poor lighting, poor craft, all the things. I was like, this person's expressing themselves, and I like that. So today, my next guest is, an art director and creative director from the greater Boston area. She's the creator of The Art of Deck Making, curator of This Week's Saves, and former ad Twitter ringleader. You might have seen her work in Times Square, the Super Bowl, or the Olympics. She's written for McSweeney's, picked for Medium Staff Picks, has won a Radio Mercury Award. Someday she hopes to win an award for art direction. She's given lectures at Columbia and Brandcenter and created an app to help women in advertising find female mentors. And I believe is teaching a class right now at Denver?
Mm-hmm.
Denver Ad School. Denver Ad School. She has been named one of Business Insider's 30 most creative women in advertising and selected to be part of the One Show's next creative leaders. She makes the best work a brand has ever done. She believes advertising can be really beautiful. She's at her best when she can lift others as she rises. She's a mom first. Please give it up for Aisha Hakim.
Wow. Just read that verbatim off our website.
Basically, I look at your LinkedIn and I realize I could have read a truncated version of that.
Yeah. It's a little, yeah. People have told me my about me is too long on my website, and maybe you've just proved all of their points.
I don't think so. I think it grasps at the fact that you do a lot of things all the time.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So you're just trying to say there's a lot that you can do. Because people will say, I'm a parent as well. People will say, how do you, do this video thing and this other thing and play music and da-da-da? And it's like, well, you can find time to do things. I think it's just, are you driven to make the thing that you want to make and carve out time for it?
Yeah. I actually feel like that's one of the harder things about, let me choose my words wisely. One of the things I didn't anticipate about parenthood was before I had my daughter and you have an idea on a Friday and you're like, oh, I really want to build a microsite that has photographers that art directors could or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I would sit down on my computer and go all weekend,
make it,
and just make it. And now when I think of something or I want to make something or I want to cut a little video together, you can't just sit down at your computer and start going and I find it really hard to just sit in my head and swirl on it for sometimes hours and sometimes days and sometimes weeks and sometimes months and be like, I just don't have, the free time to go and lock in and do I don't know, just go into a creative hole anymore. And I find that challenging.
Yeah. It's when I was in college, I would just go back to the dorm, get on my computer and make stuff all the time. I had a record label. I would make artwork for bands they didn't even ask for. I would just make 5 versions. I'd show it to them. I was just always I don't know what I was grinding to do. I just felt like I love doing this and I'm making it. And this is all I want to do with my time. And so it wasn't about anything except getting back to the computer and making stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a parent, I do miss that as well. Going back, how do you carve out time to just figure something out and make it is one of the hardest challenges, but it's very rewarding when you have time to do it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's ever as good. I don't know. I have a book that I'm writing with my creative partner about portfolios, which I know we're going to talk about today. And I thought of it more over 5 years ago, and we've interviewed over 20 CCOs and ECDs and recruiters. And then, I was pregnant and then I had my kid and then that threw my timeline off. I'll just say that threw my timeline off. And now it's been like over 5 years and I'm like, I'm still writing it, but like, oh my God, it takes, I feel like pre-kids it would have taken me 6 months and now it's just like I have to write it in short spurts or and then the last thing you want to do after you put your kid down is like come back to the computer. It's like the time that you can decompress. So I also struggle with that is like I do when I create on the computer, but I'm also at the computer for like 8 hours a day. So it can feel sometimes not as fun or creative when you've like been working all day and then you put your kid down and then you come back to your computer. It's like something is a little bit lost. So I'm kind of still searching for I don't know how to get the spark back and not make it feel like a chore.
Yeah, that's tough for old projects like that. Like it takes people don't understand it takes like 10 years to make a book. It really does because my wife makes books. She's a children's book author. She makes graphic novels and she'll like spend 5 years, 3, 4 years writing it, a year drawing it and coloring it. And then they say it's coming out in 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and then you work on it and then they go, oh, we meant 2032 because like some stuff happened. And then it's like, by the time it comes out, you're like, yeah, I did that like a decade ago. I don't know.
Yeah. We're going to release it digitally because I've talked to people who have published books within advertising. And I know Junior took from conception to publication took Thomas 10 years. And when I heard that, I was like,
yeah, I got that right here. Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, this is I remember just seeing it and being like, I got to buy this because of how it looks. But it's a great
I know.
book. Yes, I mean, yeah.
I was like, I cannot wait 10 years. I'm like an immediate gratification person. That's what was so great about Twitter. Thoughts out to the world, reception. So I think we're gonna release it digitally because I also, your portfolio is digital, so it doesn't really need to be a book anyways. But my ego wants it to be a book, but my desire for immediate gratification is going to make it a digital piece.
Yeah, and then the stuff that you can crank out quickly and put out, that's nice too. Like your art of deck making, make a PDF, it spreads like wildfire. That's kind of
I don't think I can I don't think I can
right?
do that twice though. Yeah, but I didn't set out to make that what it became. So I don't really know if I can channel. I don't know if I can, I'm struggling for the term because my brain doesn't work anymore. You can't light the same candle twice. You can't set the same. Lightning doesn't strike twice.
There you go. Yes.
Got there in the end.
I don't know. I think it could, especially when you have more followers and people. But you're right. Like if you think about it, you don't get to control how something spreads. So
yeah,
when you want something to spread, it doesn't spread. When you don't really care, people go crazy.
I also think that when I released that in 2020, there wasn't such an oversaturation of learning direct from other people on LinkedIn, where now it feels like everyone is selling a course, everyone is trying to educate. And it's one thing that I thought about with this book that I'm making too, is like, I don't, who am I to educate someone? I don't know. Like, that's why we're interviewing people, because I didn't think that I had enough of credibility to really be influential. But now it's like everyone has a course. So I also think that those things are seen with a little bit more of a critical eye, or just not quite as special. I don't know, not quite as noticeable. It's a busy landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's these carousels now, right? Where it's like someone's got the 50-page carousel with like, here's how I do strategy. It's really simple, but there's like 40 more slides, and then step by step, and then everyone's in the comments.
Classic
like,
strategist.
Exactly. And in the comments, everybody's like, "This changed my life. I'm gonna bring this into everything I use." And then the next day, you kind of go, "Yeah, that was interesting. Where is that?" It doesn't. It's sad because this stuff doesn't like live in one place. It just pops up, or you find it and then it disappears on the feed because the feed refreshes. You don't remember who wrote it,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a mess out there. So, um, all right, let's get to the first question.
Okay.
What are you? If you can talk about what you're making right now, what are you making
Like
creatively?
at work, like
Yeah,
at my job.
yeah.
Well, I can't talk about it because it's pitch
Okay.
and I'm freelancing. So I'm freelancing with an agency that I've freelanced with once before, and they're lovely people. And we're on a pitch. That's all I can say.
Can you talk about
Does that
outside
ruin your
of?
question?
No, what about creatively outside of work? I guess because you said you're working on your book. That's something, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. So my big side project right now is this. I'm calling it a book. I don't know if it really is by definition a book. I think it's a digital piece. But basically it came from, I mean, because of Twitter and because of, if anyone remembers Fellow, the app that I made, I just got a lot of people coming to me for book reviews. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did a lot and have continued to do a lot. And um, I think not only did I see things in portfolios that everyone, not everyone was making the same mistakes, but like outside of the work, outside of the campaigns, the ideas in the campaigns, I just found myself having so many like an overwhelming amount of notes for people, but like death by paper cut, where I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I landed on your page and I didn't see I didn't say, who are you? You're not a copywriter and art director. Like I had to click through a photo of you to get to your work, and like just
Mm-hmm.
a million little, and then I got to your page and I couldn't get to the next page, or I got to your page and it was like a case study that I didn't want to watch. So I would write people like 4 pages of notes, and some people would be like, you're like, kind of fuck you. That's like not what people want to hear. And
No.
then some people, take and but I was like, man, there is so much. Not only is there like what is a good book, but there's also context, and there's also, because I like to ask people before I look at their work, I'm like, where do you want to work? What kind of work do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because where they want to work and what kind of work they want to do is going to impact how they build their book, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, because, so we started, me and my writer, Rinder, who met when I was an intern at an Ocean before I was, in advertising. And he was like, you need to have a creative portfolio. I was like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a senior writer at the time, and, showed me what a portfolio was and like wrote me spec lines for my spec work. So then we became friends, and now it's like been 10 years later, and we've been kind of always just like creative partners. So we're writing it together, and but when neither of us, we haven't like worked at Wyden and worked at like the best shops, so we didn't want people to just be like, fuck you, you haven't worked at the best shops, you don't have, like, I don't have the best portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to interview people to see what they said. So we started with like Colleen Corsi, who was at the time the global CCO of Wyden Kennedy, and we talked
Mm-hmm.
to Lauren Ranke, who was head
Yes.
of creative at Wyden for a really long time.
Yes.
And what we lacked in like, you know, flashy portfolio projects, we just had a lot of contacts, and I had a lot of contacts from Fellow. So we just started to talk to people and record the conversations, and then transcribe them and pick out, and we'd ask them like, where's the first place that you click on a portfolio? What do you want to see in and about me? If someone doesn't have good projects, how can they prove to you that they deserve a shot? Or do you want a strategy? Like
Mm-hmm.
the nitty gritty of all of these elements of a portfolio. And sorry, I'm going to talk a lot. What we found was like, it's about the nitty gritty and it's about good ideas, obviously, but there are all of these other like intangible qualities that make a good creative and other ways that you can showcase that you're worthy of 30 more. Recruiters spend a minute and
Maybe.
sometimes less
Yeah.
if they see something that they're like, I'm out. And
Yep.
no, that is a product of the times. There isn't enough time, they're getting bombarded.
Hmm.
At the same time, which we're walking the line in our book too, it's product of the times. We can't fault them for it. It's, recruiting is difficult and there are a ton of applicants. At the same time, it's kind of messed up that like you get 30 seconds for someone to decide if you're worthy of a shot in this industry or not. So what we wanted to do was just put together a guideline, like a brand guideline. Not everyone is going to need every page, but someone might need some information here and there, depending on, again, what they want to do, the work they want to do, the people they want to work for. Because the other thing we found is Bianca at Mischief has a very different perspective on what she wants to see in a book than Craig Allen at Callan. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone comes to me and says, I want to be in advertising, it's like, well, do you want to work at Mischief or do you want to work at Callan? Because I have two completely different answers for you. Um, and and so it started as like, oh, well, we're just going to say, this is how you should write about me. And this is how you should design a product page or a project page. And this is how you should do your navigation. It's like exploded into the first half of the book is all just like intangible qualities that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half is more like brass tacks, everything that I've been talking about. But what's so cool is just the range of answers that we got and the context of why they make those choices and also just like there's no right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, one thing is really important to them and some people don't really give a shit about that. And it just depends. Like it's very fluid is what we found. So we're trying to weave together all of those perspectives into a cohesive narrative, which is taking a really long time.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, the art of deck making. So you were talking in that about here's how to make a deck. Here's how it should feel. Here, you should reduce the points that you're trying to make. You should, really think about the visual cues in a deeper way, not just throw stuff in. And you have examples there. It sounds like you're kind of making that, but for portfolios. Like tell your whole story and think about it's like walking people through that because it seems like yeah, there is no the rules for portfolios. You look at people, they make like flashy websites, and then there's people that are the best people in your industry that don't have a website. I guess that makes sense because why would they? But like a Brock Kirby, and you go to his website, he could have 4 links, but it's to the 4 best Nike spots of all time. So you're
But that's the
like,
thing about Brock Kirby is he has a very good descriptive about me that sets up
oh, does he
all of
really?
his
I
projects.
don't know.
So,
Yeah, yeah, but I
so he's a
but
bad
some
example.
yeah, he probably is. But like Jim Riswold, who he was our teacher. I was in the Wyden and Kennedy school, and Jim was our teacher, and he had a jingle on his website for his for when he went to a site. So he had these people sing a jingle. So when you'd visit the
Mm,
site, they would sing Riswold
that's funny.
amalgamated or whatever, because like it was like over the top and ridiculous, but that was Riswold. So, uh, you know. I think yeah, like little things like that tell somebody right away who you are without even looking at your work, and
Yeah.
and I'm sure Brock's website's awesome. If there's like another person who just has 10 links and but they're like the best ads of all time, then that's all you need to know. Um, yeah, because there's so
Here's
many
the thing though
signals.
is younger creatives look at those books and think they mimic it. So
Mm-hmm.
their about me will be like, oh, my name is Brett, and one time I saw Bill Murray in an elevator. I like
Yeah,
to make ads. And I'm like, you
that's
cannot,
everybody's about me.
like, you cannot, don't have the work to stand on and about me that says nothing. But here's the thing. I'm going to pull it up because I
That's
now
true.
you're going to prove my point, and it's going to be so dope. I love when my point is proved. Brock I use as an example because he doesn't have to say anything, but actually his about me says Brock's love of sports and words is lifelong. It didn't hurt that his father was a coach and a language arts teacher. tells you everything you need to say in like,
It's great.
I don't know,
Yeah.
25 words. I mean, it
Right.
says a lot more than that. But what I love about that and what I try to show people who ask is like, why are you the writer you are? What made you that way? And how does it influence your work? And I mean, obviously he's like amazing. So he's managed to do it in 25 words.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it does all of those things so razor sharp that
Yes.
I just think it's a great example. I also, well, should we like read people's about me? It's probably not, but I have two examples that I like to use, and his is one of them.
That's great. I love that his name came up organically, and then you're like, "That's exactly who I'm using." Because yeah, for a writer, it's almost like your about me could be one of the most powerful things you do because you honestly, I mean, you write 100 headlines, and then it's like number 72 was the one you chose. But writers probably write a bio, and then like in 30 seconds, maybe they add a funny line, and they go, "That's pretty good." And when somebody sifts through it like poetry and comes up with something like what he wrote where you're just like moved by it and it's so visceral and different, you're like, this guy's different. So
Yeah.
I agree. There's a standard, and then there's like, hey, if you're a designer, don't you care about, I don't know, like how you look? Like, don't you want your picture here to look like what you like and not just another? Uh, Apologize to anyone who has the aura photo, but like a photo of the aura of your aura. Uh,
Oh, have not seen that.
it's it's a thing that I feel like it was popular in like 2010, but it continues like where people get a picture
I
with their
wasn't in the
aura.
industry in 2010. I'm so young.
Yeah, it's just like a colorful blob behind you, and they
Yeah,
say
yeah.
it's like your aura, and they say, oh, it's kind of green, that means you're a Sagittarius or whatever. I don't know, but that was a way to say I'm creative for a while, but then it became like, yeah, everybody, if you do that, it's like, yeah, we know you did an aura photo. It's great. It's not creative
Well,
anymore.
here's the thing that I'll say, and I really struggled with this. I
Hmm.
only, well, full disclosure, literally just redid my book and am currently redoing it again. Um, but for so long, I just tried because someone would say, well, you should have a really creative about me. And I saw someone who's about me who was like a really interesting little timeline, but every little piece was like a bit. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll do a timeline. Or they're like, well, you need to have a really cool side project to like shows your. So I was like,
Right.
okay, I guess I had like, I don't know. For a while, I was like comping up like misspelled word. Like I just didn't, I was focusing on what I thought people wanted from me, or I
Mm.
was trying to conform to what I thought I was supposed to be doing when I should have been focusing on finding ways to convey who I was creatively. And like that is the reframe that we found is like the best thing you can do if you're not Brock Kirby is in every other touch point from every single write up to your about me to the way your page to your logo to whatever. It doesn't have to be any of the things that I mentioned. Similar to your jingle thing. What is undeniably you in whatever way that comes to life? And that is the thing that people have been missing. And that's the thing that I tell because I talk to a lot of people who I'm like, do you want my real advice? Because my real advice is scary because you have so much work to do that I don't want to freak you out because you're so far away from where you need to be. And so instead of just giving them 10,000 notes, I'm like, who are you? I don't see you in your write up. I don't see you in your work. I don't like, you
Hmm.
need to find a way to tell someone what your point of view on the world is, where that came from, and how it influences your art direction or your writing. So, however that feels to you, but that's my new brief, which also is terrifying because it's like, who am I on the planet and what's my purpose? You're like, I don't know, but that's the question you have to answer. That's what all great thinkers. That's the thing they do so clearly. They are unapologetically and clearly um, creatively unique.
Yes. I had a mentor, and I was supposed to go see him, and I would go up to the floor he was on, and I'd go over to the corner, and he's like this well-known person who's done all this great work, and I was always looking for advice from him, like, what should I do? What should I be working on? How do I work at Widen? How do I work in advertising? Or should I work in advertising, or should I do other stuff, or am I any good? What do you think? And like, he would just do stuff like, one day he was showing me Polaroids of leaf shadows that he'd taken where the leaves had fallen on the ground and then left shadows in Portland on the sidewalk, and he just had these like lined up. He had them developed, and he was just showing me them, and he was like, "Here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna look at these leaf prints." And no, there's no advice. There was no like world changing. It was like and it wasn't even like he was trying to make a point. I think he was saying like, I'm a ECD, and I go take pictures of leaves because I love how beautiful that is, and then I come and look at them at work, because like that to me is the point of the world and what I do, and I also make ads, and it's like, oh, and that's why the Levi's ad looks so beautiful, because you care about things like leaf prints on the ground. Oh, it makes a lot of sense. Okay, it's all adding up. Yeah, I think that's one thing, is like everybody trying to focus all their energy on advertising, and like, how do I make a good ad, and how do I look at all the ad annuals and make sure it's good, instead of what I heard you just say, and I think what Tyler was saying, or this guy was my mentor, which is like, you got to look inside yourself, dude. You got to look at you got to reverse that. Don't look at advertising. Do not look at annuals and books and try to copy the vibes of the ideas. Like, what do you think you need to tell, as a mom, as a dad, as a parent? How do you see the world in a different way?
But it's not easy to do. And hot take, I don't know who I am creatively. I truly don't. Like, I don't feel like I have any, like, I feel like that's actually the thing that like holds me back the most in my career, is like, I don't feel like I'm like I don't know what my unique point of view on the world is, even though I tell people, but I'm like, you should have one. Like, you do better than me. Like, I feel like I've scratched and clawed my way up to where I am, but I've also, and I'm not trying to be like self-deprecating, but I also feel like I've like not going to get any like better than like, I haven't gotten into the upper echelon, and it's because I don't have that like X factor thing that I needed, that I should have been developing early on, and I was trying to think of. I should have been taking pictures of leaves. Whatever my taking pictures of leaves was, that was what I should have been doing.
No, I feel
so that's what I tell other people to do.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, they didn't hire me. I went and worked at another agency, and I bounced around. I left advertising. I did other stuff. I worked on apps, and now I'm a freelancer, and I do kind of all of it. And I go, to me, it's like I still get to bring myself to my work, and investigate who I am, and like you tweet a lot about craft, or you talk about a lot about things mattering to you. I mean, I think that is who you are creatively. That your vision of the world is what makes you different, and bringing that stuff to your work is going to be different from everybody else. I don't think the things you notice that other people don't notice. I mean, I think that's pretty huge.
But I want to do that outside of work. How do I do that outside of work?
And plus, I think we're all figuring it out as we go. Like Riswald, who I brought up earlier as our teacher, like he had a degree in philosophy, and so he wasn't really interested in advertising. And then Dan Widen hired him. He was the first copywriter at Widen, and put him on stuff, and then eventually Nike. And he was like writing about stuff in a way that, because he didn't really care about that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like when you combine like philosophers with Michael Jordan or whatever, then you're like, oh, okay, it's just timeless thinking. It's not about, oh, how do we make the shoes cool or whatever. Actually, it was like the opposite. The shoes weren't even the point. It was pretty wacky. So, all right, I got to move on to next topic, but go ahead. I want you to finish.
I was just going to say, I've been trying to do that, find things that make me more creative, that aren't ads, that aren't, that aren't savvy, that aren't Pinterest or whatever. Yeah. And I have been reading, I subscribe to Harper's, and I've been reading Harper's. it's so good and it's so beautifully written and it's so funny and it's so smart. And everyone should subscribe to Harper's. Subscribe to Harper's, everyone.
Subscribe to Harper's. Do it. Subscribe to these things. Get out in the world away from the thing that you do and into other stuff, and then it will influence you. Okay, let's talk about money. So nobody wants to talk about money.
Scared.
I talked to Nancy Strange, and she talked about helping a colleague that she had heard what her day rate was, and she was horrified. And she's like, "I'm gonna take you to lunch. We're gonna have some drinks, and you're gonna we're gonna rehearse, and you're gonna ask for more money."
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like, what's your relationship with money as a creative person? Like, as a freelancer, how do you go about dealing with it? How do you go about setting your rate? Like, are you still trying to figure it out where you're like, I have no idea? Or do you have like a chart, a guide? Like, how does that all work for you?
Well, I've never been good at asking for money. I this is I don't know, probably I don't know who's gonna watch this, but like at one of my jobs, I found out that I was being paid over $50,000 less than my writer at the
Many,
same level.
many such cases I've heard. Yeah.
And I was like, money's pretty good in advertising. I was like not being I think I was making 85K, which I was like pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Heck yeah.
and
If you
I
round
was
up.
truly shaken to my core, like psychologically broken for a while, gonna be honest.
Hmm.
Um, and what I should have done is gone in there and been like, "Hey, we're the same level, and we're both contributing. Blah 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 blah. This is what I'm asking for, and if it's not, I'm walking." And like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I've never gotten the raises I felt I deserved because I'm not like I don't play hardball. And when I hear the way people play hardball, I'm like, I just don't know if I could do that.
Yes.
And I
I,
can't. And I can't.
I have a friend. I have one friend who's like an amazing hardball guy, and he came to the agency I was at in Portland, and I think he was making like double what everybody at that agency was, and I think his bonus was like closer to my salary. Like it was crazy, and it was just because he had that. I don't know
Yeah.
if he learned how to do it, and then he went to Google and he just like crushes it. He's been there a long time now,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's like there's people cut out for it, and I feel like many creatives in our like highly sensitive, introverted, whatever, all the people, all the feeling things, and I don't want to bring this up, but like, should I like also take the garbage out in addition to my job? Like, how can I be more helpful around here? Sort of
Yeah.
way. The last thing that we're thinking is like, oh, you're not paying me enough. And this is a really quick story. My friend was at this agency I worked at here in Portland, and he sat down to talk about pay, and the partner said, here, here's what we pay at this next level. And so, as you work up to that, then we'll pay you there. And then he was like, oh, I have to stop you. Like, I'm at that title right now. So can you just pay me that right now? And the guy was like, ooh, let me get back to you, and just kind of stalled. And so accidentally revealed like what the numbers were. And this
Mm,
guy was like, "You're telling me I'm supposed to make that right now? You're revealing that?" And it didn't make any difference. Like it didn't even get him that bump.
yeah.
But
Well,
it's like we all need a course in this, right?
yeah, I agree. But also I've been at how many places? I've worked at four places and two of them were indies and um it's a lot easier to just walk in and be like, "Hey, person who I know owns the agency, like
Yeah.
blah 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 blah." I've gotten more consistent and better raises and bigger bumps at both of the indies that I've worked at. And similar um to the like last indie I was at, like they actually before I had just bought a house in Massachusetts and I was like, I need to make like it's not personal, like I just need to make more money because I have a mortgage now. And I didn't have a mortgage when I took this job. And but it was like a very generous like a very generous counter offer and but that I didn't ask for that. Like I didn't push them to
Mm-hmm.
do that. It was just
Mm-hmm.
sort of like I have to make more money, so I'm gonna leave
Oh, you said I'm
instead of
leaving, so
ask.
I have to leave, and then they said, wait, wait,
No,
wait.
They said like, well, we were like on our next review cycle, we were going to offer you X, but I'd already, the
Mm,
job that I was taking was beyond that.
yeah, it's always
So,
that too. It's always on the next review cycle. We were about to do something. That's I feel like I've heard that a lot. That at
I
your
mean,
next sit down, we were
yeah,
gonna chat about it, and it's important. And yeah, we've been
but the
meaning to
thing,
raise you up.
but then you get into network agencies, and what I don't realize is just like, oh, 3% is
It's
every,
automated,
like 3% is just automated. Where I'm
right?
like, when you're at an indie, I would get like 20% raise, like 20% raises,
Yeah,
15% raises. Like it was
sure.
not as like rigorous. And so I
Yeah,
don't know how people at once, I mean, I think the money is probably better at networks depending on where you are and what your title is, but I also don't think that you're going to like, they're not going to be like, we'll pay you an extra 50 grand to stick around like you would at an indie.
yeah. When I started freelancing, I met with this guy. I had got laid off, and I was like, oh, I was struggling because I was like, what am I gonna do? And I met with this guy, and he said, take your rate they were thinking and double it. He was like, just double it because that's how it is out here. You have to just come with this. And I was like, really? This ridiculously high number for me? And he was like, I'm going to tell you that's not that high.
I
I know
know.
people that make this and this, and you're like, what? This is crazy. It's like this hidden world. And, he's right. I mean, it's not like I've gotten that rate every time, but by leading with it, I've gotten more than I was gonna make because
Yeah.
I was gonna lowball and be like, I think this is right, and then they were gonna probably come back and cut. Who knows?
Yeah. I remember at my first job when I saw a freelancer contract on the printer and it was for a
Uh
thousand dollars a day. And I was like,
oh. How can you make $1,000 a
what?
day? Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Also $1,000 in like 2011. It was
hmm
more, even more than now. I was truly shaken to my core. Um, and
I love moments like that where you just like they add zeros to things and you go, I guess money is just completely made up because this doesn't make sense.
yeah. Um, I've been lucky freelancing because I have a good friend who has now exited the industry. Good for her, who freelanced for 5 years. And I just text her and I'm like, what's my rate?
Mm-hmm.
And or freelancers who I know, who people I meet, copywriters I'm paired with, and then we get along, and I'm like, "What's your rate?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they tell me, and I'm like, "That's scary." And then I ask for it, and sometimes I get it, and sometimes I don't. But I also think, not to be egotistical, but like then you go into agencies, and you're like, "You need my help." Like, oh, I
That's right.
actually, my knowledge is valuable in dollars.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Um,
Do you ever for something you don't want, do you ever just go crazy with the number and just see
I can't.
if it,
No,
if it sinks?
no.
No,
I've
because you
never
keep
done it. I
hearing.
haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Um, that's funny. Uh, I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, the money thing is another book that needs to get written after the what you're doing now. Not necessarily by you, but
I don't. That's not me. Yeah.
somebody needs to write the hardball money book. They probably have it.
It also
It's
is
probably on
just.
LinkedIn right now.
It's like fluid though too. I mean, there's not like the work that we do. I just feel like the people who are at the higher end of the freelance rate, it's like it's not just their book. It's like who you are. Like I don't think you can band it
hmm
like you would if you were like an accountant. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like I
hmm
think that there is a bit of fluidity to pricing a freelancer. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but I just know that like some people's brains are literally worth more than other people's brains. Not mine, but other people's. Like, what's Brock Kirby making every day? I don't want like
You don't want
2,400,
to know. You don't want to know.
probably more than that. Probably more than, do you think more than $2,400 a day? We should ask
Uh,
him.
I'm not
You should
gonna
have him
go.
on.
I'm not gonna go there. I would love to have him on. He's a dream guest, and I've saw him in the halls there.
Not
I feel
3K a
like,
day.
I mean,
What's your highest number you've ever heard so
I
I can
mean,
know?
oh my gosh, I know. I feel like there's a guy who would fly down and do day shoots. Actually, this guy that told me about doubling my rate was telling me somebody that got like 5K, they would go down and do like shoots for like a week, and then they'd be in and out.
Oh, a week?
Yeah, but I think even more. There's even ways to do more than that. I don't know. Like no, not a 5K a week, 5K a day.
Oh, holy
Yeah,
moly. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Dope.
So there's it, and I think it goes higher, but
Wow. Okay.
but it is that is the person. Like if it's if you get a dream director on a project and it's a ridiculous fee, it's not ridiculous because I want Michel
Yeah.
Gondry or whoever to direct this, and then we're gonna have to eat it in other ways. Or you watch some of these ads on TV and they're using the Beatles as the audio track, and you're like, I guess Airbnb was like, we'll just pay $10 million for this ad for that's on a suit that's during an NFL game. That's just crazy. Okay, let's move to portfolios. So we kind of talked about this a
Okay.
little bit. I guess we talked about this a little bit, but I mean, for like maybe we talked about this too much already. But for someone who
Maybe.
wants to make their portfolio, I mean, what are your quick things for them to think about besides like who they are and their story? Like what you were saying, you saw like the same amount of things over and
Mm.
over and over on some of these books where you were just like, I'm writing 4 pages. Like, what are some of the top things that people are just not getting right that are killing them?
I feel like this one is going to be, I don't know if it's like a hot take or if it's too harsh, but I feel like the biggest thing that I see is just a pure lack of effort. Um,
Mm.
where I'm just like, and it was funny, I recently interviewed Jeff Kling because one of the first things Lauren Ranke sent to us when we were interviewing her, she was like, you have to see Jeff Kling's portfolio. And I just, the sweathead where they like cut together this little clip of this thing that I talk about because they sent it to me and it was like Sharpie on paper. And I was like,
Yep.
okay. Um, anyways, and then I interviewed him and I was like, what do you think, what about this got you into Wyden? Because it's relatively simplistic and the ideas were relatively simplistic. So I just was like trying to connect the dots. And
Mm-hmm.
anyways, he said a lot of really smart stuff. I'm getting to the point of, so I interviewed him and one of the things he said was a portfolio has to be generous. It has to give someone something for the time they took to look at your work. And
Mm.
most portfolios do not meet that basic standard.
That's wonderful.
A lot of portfolios that I click on, I'm just like, oh, brother.
Yeah. Right away.
Like,
Oh, it's in Montserrat or something like that. I
like
don't know.
not even just like this is not enjoyable to engage with.
Yeah.
Um, it's not fun. And I just think that people need to again, but they're showing what they think they should be doing and I'm not saying like
Mm-hmm.
make it a bit like make it silly. I'm just like
Yeah.
it's not enjoyable to engage with. So use
Right.
that as your bar. Like
Right.
what are you writing that's fun to read or interesting or a new point of view or like give me something to make it worth it so I'm not being like, oh, this is a chore. If your portfolio is a chore, you need to be rethinking your portfolio. It's a chore to take in.
To take in. Yeah. Yeah. That's really wise because I love that framing because you know what as a person who's into creative things what that means for you. Like a Christopher Nolan movie. I was on the airplane and I'm looking through all the movies and I'm like, these movies feel like chores. Like, what is this? Like, you just looking at the posters, you're like, ugh, you couldn't pay me to watch this. But then
Yeah.
I'm considering watching Inception for the 10th time because the other
No.
option is like there's something called Bride Hard, which was like brides doing Die Hard where they were shooting each other or something. And I mean, not that I'm not the market for that. I
What?
understand
Sounds good.
that might be somebody else's dream movie, but I just mean like there's a lot of schlock and there's a lot of just like really bad movies, and they are new releases. That's not attractive though, because you're going back looking for what's going to reward my time. And
Yeah.
when you think of it like what does reward your time, it's like, all right, how do I make the portfolio version of that? I like that. That's pretty
Exactly.
cool.
But it's not even about like yeah, it's about camp. Yes, you need to have good like ideas that are good campaigns. Yeah, like blanket statement. But like if that's not your strong suit, I know like people like Craig Allen or like
Hmm.
they don't or the founder of Partyland, Matt Heath, they don't want to see an ad actually.
Mm.
So give them something else.
Yeah.
Like, and we know from the internet what good, I don't know, like internet UI now is so, we interact with it constantly. Like I really, and admittedly, I don't think I'm a good web designer. That's why I'm always redoing my book because I'm always trying to make it like more enjoyable to interact with. But it's not a secret what an enjoyable web experience is. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but I also think that just people, in the same way that I think it's kind of unfair that recruiters only spend a couple of minutes on people's books because of the system, I strongly think, and I don't know if it's because I'm like 37 and I'm like a boomer, but they don't like people don't want it bad enough.
Hmm.
They just want to get in, and you can see it on their site. And I try to say, like, I try to measure their expectations. I'm like, from the second I found out about advertising, again, because they'll be like, well, you didn't go to school, you didn't build a book, and I'm like, yeah, it took me 4 years of actively working towards getting my foot in the door. Do you want to, are you okay with 4 years? You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
some people, the answer is no, and that's okay. But like, I do think there's an epidemic of trying. I just don't think people are trying hard enough. And I think that that's a annoying things to say. But from what I hear, there was another quote, Rob Baird. I worked a preacher, and Rob, who I think is a really brilliant creative leader. And I also love talking to him because he's just like a creative. Like he gives a shit about the details. And one thing he said is like, I'm not going to do the quote right because I haven't looked at it in a while. Um, it was basically just like, I don't think there used to be this thing where creatives would stand outside Dan Wyden's office for weeks just for an opportunity to talk to him to get their foot in the door. And I don't think that kind of persistence exists any longer.
Mm. Yeah.
So one thing I tell people when they're like, I just don't like, what else can I do? I'm like, honestly, just try a long time for a while, like continuous perseverance. Which isn't again like a really like if someone told me to be continually like persevere as a 22-year-old, I'd be like, go fuck yourself. But it's true. Like it's the answer. So I don't know. Like, here's the truth is like, you can make a lot of fucking money in this industry. I made more money. My dad's a doctor. Last year, I made triple what he has ever made. I mean, he's a dentist. So
No,
like
that's a
he's still a doctor, but he's not like he's not like a, or whatever. And not everyone, they're not handing these jobs out more than ever. So
right.
do you want it or do you not want it? I don't know. It's like, it's a shitty thing to say, but it's kind of true.
Yeah, it's not getting handed out because it's not a handout. That it makes a lot of sense. And the money thing, I met with a guy who runs a studio, and he was telling me like what he's gonna make this year, and he was like, one of the most satisfying things is knowing that I'm making more with this company that I have than the CEO of this company that I used to work for. And then, he'll just look at job descriptions, and he's like, you couldn't, that looks like nothing now with what I'm able to do independently. And it was like you said, it was grind after grind of figuring it out. But that's really the reward, is there's like something at the end
Right.
of it. It's not like hurry up. And that's what they used to tell us too, is like you're not going to just get to something. um
Yeah. And here, this isn't part of the bar like this, but I think this is important. And again, I'm in a really generational divide, obviously. But I also think that, I mean, I didn't graduate. I also didn't graduate from college. So it's kind of like this works, or you're serving tables at the barbecue place where you're a waitress for the rest of your life. And it also like, I really, um, in your 20s, you have to grind. Like, I think that I've worked at a lot of agencies where they push the creatives too hard and they made us pull all-nighters when we didn't have to. And there was one time where I had like to build a car at a home board, and it was a car and two sentences, two words, and they made me do, I'm not kidding you, like 75 different versions. Is that too much? Yeah, like they pushed it too far. But this whole like, oh my God, I'm so old. Nonchalance, like I'm just gonna do it and then I'm gonna walk away. Like that's not the way you're gonna make a lot of money. So, or be, if you want to work at Wyden, if you want to like be the best in the industry, like you have to. Oh my God. I mean, it was very painful. Like it's I see both sides. When I was at Venables, I um had come in from an ocean, but was not like like trained like the brand school kids
Mm-hmm.
who were trained like they're in the Navy, like they're the Marines of ad
Mm-hmm.
schools. And I got my fucking ass handed to me. And I flailed for like 2 years. And it was, I'm not kidding, one of the most difficult times in my life because I just wasn't doing a good job. And people were kind of like, you're not doing a good job. Um, but I also, at some point, really kicked it into, I mean, I made a decision to be like, I need to do better and I have to make this work. And it sucked. It was hard. And I cried so much, but I also made sick outie spots. So you tell me. I don't know.
I think it is all about. I think it's generational. I think, like you said, and it's also about setting expectations. It's like when your grandparents, when you complain to your grandparents, and they just like, it's not that it doesn't matter,
They were
but
like
like
on the beaches of
they're
Normandy.
like, were you in a foxhole today? Like
Yeah.
I understand you had to cut out a lot of stuff for your job, and that sounds really hard, but like I think you make more than I did my first 20 years of my
Yeah.
career. I don't know. Like, there's so many other things. And I think you look at this in the stats, like, it is. So we're both millennials. If you look at Gen Z, I think. I think there was a study about like, or there was a poll about like how much do you need to make a year to be successful.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw this.
it was like 500,000, right?
Yeah, for our generation, it was like 180, or something
Yeah.
like that. Which I was like, okay, that's reasonable. And then for Gen Z, it was like 380 or 480
Yeah.
or something like that. And then all the other generations were pretty much like down in the other areas. And you're like, all right, so for this generation, they want to be YouTubers and they want to make
Yeah.
$400,000 a year. So that's how they want to start. And that's very worrying when you just tell me the story you told me, and then you go like 10 years later, you go, oh, I know why I had to do all that though, because like I had to learn about craft mattering, or I had to learn about working harder and pushing
I
myself.
know.
Like, well, yeah, like $400,000. Like, what do you guys think? Where are those jobs? I mean, like,
But maybe we're the dinosaurs.
maybe we're cooked.
Maybe they
We're
are
gonna
gonna make, maybe they,
they're
yeah, we're
all gonna
cooked.
make
Like
480.
they are gonna make $400,000 off of their YouTube channel, and they are gonna like work. Maybe we're fucking wrong, but also we didn't have any other choice. So
We didn't have any choice. Um, okay, I don't want
sorry. That was
to.
like a
It's okay. That was great.
wasn't derail.
No, we don't have it. I mean, for an
Okay.
hour, we only have like 7 minutes to an hour. I don't
Yeah.
have a hard stop in 7 minutes, but I don't want to. I don't
I
want to
mean,
push it.
I probably
So
should.
I'll skip the pitch deck because you're working on or no, you've already the pitch deck thing is you've already
Pitch
released
deck.
that. We don't really need to talk about that. The art of deck making. So
Yeah, no,
um
that's old.
so let's do lightning round through the last five topics. So let's talk the ad industry today. I think
Okay.
just like from when you started to where it is today, we kind of touched on it a little. Like, what's differences that you're seeing? Um, One thing you can see this week, we had the Apple TV spot with this beautiful like in a
I
studio
saw
color
that.
thing, and then you have this AI Coke spot over here with 100 people now working on that, making that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you? I mean, I don't want to put that as the thing that we need to talk about, but I just thought that was
Well,
really
it's not.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you see a difference in the ad industry today?
A huge difference. So I think I interned at Ocean in like 2011. I just looked at my LinkedIn today because I had to write how many years I've been in the industry, and I was like, shooketh. I feel like I should know more things. Um, way less time, obviously less money, but I remember, I mean, I feel like we used to have like from kickoff to from kickoff to the edit. So you shoot something and you have the, edit to the like final approval. Maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like we used to have 2 weeks. Like you would
Sure.
spend a week editing before you went to a creative review, and then they would get short, and then they would show it to them, and then you'd show it to them a couple days later, and now I think like the editor very rarely has a time to edit with the director and the editor would edit for like 2 or 3 days solo, and then you'd come in. I feel like you're in the edit now for like you edit for a day, you have your first review, you edit for a day, you have your second review, you edit for a day, you start into rough cuts, you do all the rough cuts in a singular day. Like I think it's a week. It's a week for all of the deliverables front to
It's a
back.
week. Everything's a
Um,
week. Yeah, that's right.
and that's pretty crazy to me. Even pitches, pitches used to be like a month or 2 months, and now I think 2 weeks. Like every pitch I'm on has been people are like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's a fast one." I'm like, wow, I feel like every pitch
It's
is
a
2 weeks
fast one.
now.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. How about like every
um,
project is a fast one? We started yesterday and we're trying to launch by November 15th. Oh, that's a week and a half and it's everything. You're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, right.
yeah. So I mean, time is huge. I also think there's less teams on things. I think that I was given the keys to the castle as a junior. I was on all kinds of briefs and had all kinds of time. And oh my God, when I was at an ocean, I like co-wrote a spot with my CD and we did a global shoot. It was like such a boondoggle. Like it was like
Wow.
I went to I've only traveled through my job. So anyways, now they would never do that.
No,
Send to like a junior on a global boondoggle?
no,
No.
no, that wouldn't happen.
No, no. You can't even send juniors to an edit. Like,
There are no juniors. We don't need juniors
there's no
anymore because we just
juniors.
have
I
computers that
know.
do the junior work. Okay.
I know. I remember they would like let me go up to cut and run and like sit in on an edit, and none of that's happening.
We sound like those people when we were in our 20s that we talk to people and they'd be like, I remember when
I
I used to cut the letters out and
no, they would
put
be
them in
like,
front of the
I
photo
remember when there was a
machine.
line for cocaine in the production budget.
Yeah, also that. Okay, why is everything poorly lit?
Okay, I know the answer to this because I was rage posting about it on my Instagram,
Yes,
and my
tell me.
friend who works in film told me it's because the things that are brightly lit and backlit, lit from all sides, you can, shouldn't surprise us, move faster.
Mm,
Less detail to lighting. The word is escaping me. What's the word when everything is cohesive? Lighting.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, never
Chiaroscuro.
mind. It's faster. You can shoot quicker.
Yep. I mean, we need those edits tomorrow, so we can't really light this well. That makes sense.
I mean, and also I think that big budget now is just people don't really give a shit
Right.
about lighting and they don't want to hire people that give a shit
Well, when you think about
because they're
Wicked, because that was your comment was about Wicked, and Wicked is like I don't know, probably made $1 billion. I'm probably wrong, but like it made
here's the
enough.
thing.
Why didn't they spend the time on that?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't know. Here's the thing. I watched the new Gladiator 2, which I was like, okay, this
Ooh,
is a
is it
good director.
okay?
Backlit like Wicked. And the sets were super cheap.
And we all loved Gladiator because they
Right.
got it done fast. That's what I remember about the first Gladiator. It was done by Friday. Um, yeah, that's
You know
new
what was
movies are
lit
just sad.
fantastically?
What?
One battle after another. One battle after
Yes,
another.
that was good, and
Beautifully lit.
I saw that on your. I think that was in your email that you sent of your like stuff you're
Oh
capturing
yeah.
because I had just seen that and I was like, I didn't really think about the lighting when I saw the movie, and then when I got your email, I was like, oh yeah, all these shots were really well considered. And then when you think about Paul Thomas Anderson, like, oh yeah, like he can actually sit there and think about that. All right, so we have these auteurs who still care. but then they need to make the Kool-Aid movie, and like we don't need to light the Kool-Aid man well, right?
I also really liked the studio. I thought the studio was very well written, and I love the way they use music in the pacing. And I thought that the
Yes,
structures of the episode, like each episode has its own unique structure. I thought
it's
that was
very
very well done. I
it's very
loved
good.
that.
I wanted to hate
It's
that
very good.
because it won all these awards, and I was like, I'm kind of Seth Rogen
No,
out. Like he's in everything, and he's like making like pipes and stupid stuff. Like, what are you doing? And then I watched it on the plane, and I was like, this is the funniest thing. I'm like laughing out loud on a plane, which is
I
embarrassing,
know.
but it was so good, it was killing me. All right, future predictions. Any future predictions or hot takes?
I really don't know. I don't know. I'm probably wrong,
We
and
could skip that
probably
one.
AI is going to overtake
Okay,
all of our jobs.
AI takes all
Craft
jobs.
craft doesn't matter. No one cares. Shut up.
Hmm.
Learn
Idiocracy,
Midjourney.
like banner ads on
Yeah.
Idiocracy, like everybody prints wearable ads shirts and then wears
Yeah.
them because they're cheap. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, okay, what are you? We talked a lot of some negative things. What are you stoked on these days? Like, what are you getting fired up about?
It's a tough last question because okay. I did something really nice for myself,
Okay,
and I'm getting into analog photography, and I bought myself
nice,
a Leica, which I have
very
no
cool.
business using and I don't know how to use at all. And when Leica Photography found out that I bought one without knowing how to use it on Reddit, they were very upset. But I've been getting really into film photography, and I want to develop my own film, and I want to get better at understanding how to shoot analog. And I want to take the things that I see that I love, like Paul Thomas Anderson framing and things like that, and I want to do that. And that has been really firing me up.
That's awesome. I'm glad you actually bought a camera and did something about it, and instead of buying a like a coffee table book and being like, I would like to. This is how I join this subculture: is I buy this book and then I look at it.
No, I
Um,
read Reddit and I say, "What is an aperture?" And they say, "Get the fuck out of here."
and they say, how much did you spend on a camera without knowing that? What's wrong with you?
Look, freelance is up and down. Okay, what if I don't work for 3 months? I should had to buy it while I could.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I need an espresso machine. Here's the footprint for the counter. Here's how it's gonna work. I need coffee. I'm gonna make this nice coffee. That's
Yeah, and
my
now when I get
gift
good
to
at
myself.
photography, I can be like, put it on my portfolio and be like, "I shoot on Leica.
Yeah,
It's gonna be lit."
they're gonna be doing ads for Leica. Well, this was awesome. Thank you for taking some time. I know it's been chaotic on your end. Lots going on. Thanks for carving out some time to talk to me. And
Thanks for having me.
excited about all the things that are coming out in your future, your book and your next class that you're teaching and your campaign and the thing that you're
Mm.
going to do soon and your photography career and on and on and
Hmm.
on. Try to do more things.
More things, yeah.
But keep posting on Twitter, keep posting on LinkedIn. Your hot takes are always welcome. Love it.
Thank you.
And Aisha, thanks for coming on. It was really fun.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting me on. I'll
Yeah.
see you on the interwebs.
I'll see you on LinkedIn until our jobs are replaced.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, like,
Bye.
should I sign out of? Okay, bye. Should I like sign out of this? Like, we're done?